is filming.
Okay, so my testimony is, it started way back when I was growing up. I had my family consisted of my father, a stepmom who had her own 3 daughters. So now I ended up getting 3 stepsisters on top of my 2 relative stepsisters, my blood stepsisters. And we grew up in a little trailer home. It was 3 beds, 2 bath. I started there because I went into Mormonism at that time because some brothers came to the door and said that they could assist with some of the like electricity bills, water bills, food. So we ended up us kids had to go to church as part of the agreement with my father and stepmom to get these assistance. So we started going to that church, and it was on Sunday, and we had Wednesday, like little Wednesday where the kids got together, and that was good because it was almost like Boy Scouts for me. And then we lived off them helping us, and it was like that for a while. And then I got taken away from my dad. Well, the whole family was broken. That stepmom was trying to commit suicide a lot. My dad didn't really believe in God. He was never really at church. And he'd be like, F you, God, and stuff like that. And then, so I kind of fell off from it. I got taken away from my dad. I never really went back to church after that. I went down a dark path, almost like instead of following in Jesus' footsteps, I actually started following like my dad's footsteps that I held on to from the stories he actually told me about from when he was a child. And my dad was smoking weed, so I started following that. I started smoking weed, and then I started hanging out with the wrong friends. And then I finally grew up, and I was like, okay, I'm done with these friends. And I found this woman. I thought that I could make her good. So in reality, I was like just being a captain, save a boat. And so I'm trying to save this woman. It was 6 years, and she had a child, and the child was actually ended up being someone else's. And then she signed the child over to her adoptive parents. So I ended up I was already kind of like mad about that and about the whole situation. I was trying to like become the father of the child, and it just wasn't working out at all. But I'm still confused. I was stressed out. I was the only one working, trying to make ends meet for her and I. And then everything was going downhill, and she got back into drugs again while I was at work, and then she ended up not being home, whatever. And I get a job at Boeing. I start making a whole bunch of money, so I wasn't stressing about money at all. And then I was meeting these other friends that were all making money, so I was making a whole bunch of money. And it was over a winter break when my sister fought. She ends up in jail, and so I'm alone now. I got my sister a job there, and she worked on the other side of the country because I came from Washington State. And Washington on the east side, so Seattle area, or no, the west side is Seattle. And then I moved to the east side of Washington. I brought my whole family, my 2 sisters and stuff out there. I knew I was a sinner because I was having all this sexual intercourse and stuff, but I didn't realize it at the moment because I was young and dumb. And I realized that it turned into just lusting over this. That's it's all she provided, so that's all I wanted at that moment. And that's what kind of kept me into the relationship, I guess. I guess it was the feeling of being wanted. And I was already in porn before that, but my porn in that time was making the videos with her because that's what she was interested in, and that's what I was using. But no matter what, it's still wrong. I fell back into Jesus when I was alone, and I didn't know what else to do with life. It was just monotonous. So I started finally opening up to Jesus, and I didn't understand everything totally, obviously, and I didn't even go to church because all the churches around me in Eastern Washington was almost all Mormonism. And then, so I didn't go to church, but I went to work after my winter break was up, which lasted 2 weeks, and I started praying again and stuff every day consistently. That's all I had to do. And so I was consistently praying. I was like, I just like want a good woman. And I was fasting a lot. I was only fasting like 4 days out of a week, every week, and praying. And then through that, I kept asking for the truth. I kept trying to seek it online. I thought I found the truth. I thought the truth was like that Jesus was only a great teacher, and that's why we should follow him. That I didn't truly believe like Jesus was God at first. And then it wasn't until I moved to Vermont, which I willy-nilly just quit Boeing, where I made $150,000 a year, which all my buddies at work were coming to my house and like, "What? Why'd you just leave? How could you just give up money like that?" And there's a whole nother story to that. But the point is that I left, and I was gonna go move to where my grandparents were in Idaho, and then I had another buddy contact me, and we talked about it when we were in high school about moving back to his hometown, which was New York. And so we just did that. We're like, you know what, let's just do it. Because I had another buddy I left Boeing with or for, and he ended up killing himself. So I move here. I get a job at corrections. I actually I'm still praying the same things, just for truth, for understanding, really. And I wanted more logic. And then I found a woman in my academy, and I already had I had that sensation, the same sensation I got when I felt that Jesus, almost like when Jesus opened his arms to me when I was praying one night, because I went on my knees when I first started thinking about it, going back to Jesus. I got on my knees and prayed, and I was asking for forgiveness for my sins, because I was very wicked at that time, and everything I was doing, because I was still drinking and everything. And I had the same feeling when I met this woman the first time, and she was gentle with me, and I believe at that moment it was almost like God was like pushing me towards her, and I didn't understand it at first. So then we ended up talking later in the academy, and she was just telling me about her life, and I realized how repentant her heart was. And then I still like had my sense, but we were just studying the Bible together. And then we started like really kicking it off about it, because I think we just were interested in somebody that was just as equally yoked into the scriptures and believing in Jesus. Mine was a little bit different, but it was wild because it was about a woman and truth that I was really asking for. And then I believe that Jesus put me in front of this woman a whole year later, because her father brought me the truth, and then she was the woman I was asking for. So my journey in the testimony was that, and my saving moment was when I was at Boeing 2 years ago now, that I felt the presence come upon me. But it's still been a journey for me, and I'm looking to go deeper into this school. So I'm excited to be here today. Thank you.